Let us quickly start with our next chapter, that is chapter number 9, Qualitative Research Methods and Overview. First question, which methods in qualitative research uses flexible interview guide? The options are A. In-depth interviews and participant observation, B. Focused group discussions and in-depth reviews, or C. Participant observation and focused group discussions, or option D. Structured interviews and surveys. So which method in the qualitative research uses flexible interview guide? The answer for this question is option number B, that is focus group discussions and in-depth interviews are the methods in qualitative research which uses the flexible interview guides. Chalo. Then the second question, which of the following study designs can be used as a tool to generate the hypothesis or ideas? Is it A. Qualitative study, or B. Case control study, or C. Experimental study, or D. Cohort study? Which study design will be used as a tool to generate a idea or hypothesis? The answer for this question is option number A, that is qualitative study. The qualitative study is used as a tool. Okay. Next question. The qualitative data analysis method in which the investigators code the text into categories and then build the theoretical models is what? The options are A. Content analysis, B. Grounded theory, C. Schema analysis, or D. Hermeneutics. Once again the question, the qualitative data analysis method in which the investigators code the text into categories and then build the theoretical models. This is seen in option number B, that is grounded theory. B, grounded theory. Now see the information given in this slide. As per our question, the coded text into the categories and build theoretical models is seen in the grounded theory, coding text into categories and building the theoretical models. These two are seen in the grounded theory of the qualitative data analysis. Grounded theory method of qualitative data analysis. Next question. The open-ended one-to-one interviews to discover interviews' own framework of meanings is seen in what? Options are A. In-depth interviews, B. Focus group discussions, C is participant observation, or D. Structured interviews. Once again, open-ended one-to-one interviews. If you see this one-to-one interviews to discover the interviewee's own framework of meanings, this is seen in what? The answer for this question is option number A, that is in-depth interviews. In-depth interviews. See the information given in this chart. They have mentioned the open-ended interviews. They have mentioned discover the interview's own framework of meanings. Both the statements were there in the question. So this comes under the in-depth interviews. This comes under the in-depth interviews. So this was our question. One-to-one interviews and interviews own framework of meanings. So we got the answer. Next question. Audio recordings during focus group discussions. Options are A. Can be done without any prior informed consent. B. It cannot be done. Or C. Should always be done. Or D. Can be done with prior informed consent. So once again the options. Audio recordings during focus group discussions can be done without prior informed written consent. No, this is not correct. Second, audio recordings during if during focus group discussions cannot be done. No, even this is not correct. It should always be done. No, even this is not correct. But it can be done with prior informed consent. Yes, this is the correct statement. So this is the answer for this question. Next question. All of the following are the situations in which the qualitative research methods can be used except. So the options are A. Familiar and sufficiently researched matter, or B. To seek the depth of understanding, or C. Exploration of behaviors, or D. View the social phenomenon holistically. So what is the answer for this question? The answer is option number A, that is familiarity and sufficiently researched matter is the answer for this question, because it is a situation in which qualitative research method is not used in this option number A, but in option number B, C and D they are used. Now see the chart over here. See, this was the option number 2 which was given, this is option number 3 which was given, and this is option number 4 which was given. This chart, that is when to use the qualitative research method, all these situations 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, is supposed to be by hearted, because one question can be asked from this chart. See our once again, let us see our option number 2, that is to seek the depth of understanding. It is written over here, seeking the depth of understanding is here. The next option, exploration of behaviors is written over here. Okay, right. And then the final one, that is view the social phenomenon holistically, it is written over here. Okay, so all the three options are here. Therefore, as the question said that in which of the situation the method, in which method this is not used, so therefore it was familiar and sufficiently research matter. Chalo. Next question. The main methods used in qualitative research method include all of the following except. Options are A, in-depth interviews, B, focused group discussions, C is participant observation, or D, structured questionnaire based interviews. The main methods which are used in the qualitative research method are all except what? So the answer for this question is D, except the structured questionnaire based interviews. But otherwise, in-depth interviews, focused group discussions and participant interviews, okay, are included in the qualitative research method. See the information given in this chart. From our options, in-depth interview is there, focused group discussions are there, and participant observations are there. See, all these three are there: interviews, focus group discussions, and participant observations. Okay, chalo. Then the next question. The observer becomes a part of the group or event in this method of qualitative study. Options are A, in-depth interviews, B, focused group discussions, or C, participant observation, or D, structured interviews. In which is that the observer will become a part of the group or the event? The answer for this question is C, participant observation. See the information given in this chart or the slide. The first point itself in the participant observation says that the researcher becomes participant in the social event or a group under study and records the observations. So, as per the question, this is the answer. Chalo, next question. All the statements regarding the participant observations is true except what? So, three statements are correct, one is wrong. Let us see what. Options are A, observer becomes a part of the event or the group. B, systematic collection of data is easy. Or C, analytical methods for observation are not well described. Or D, the data is very detailed. So the answer for this question is option number B, because systematic collection of data is not easy, it is difficult. It is difficult. Okay. The other options, that is observer becomes a part of the event of the group, is correct. Analytical methods for observation are not well described is also correct. Data is well detailed is also correct statements. See the information given in this chart. As per the options, the first option, observer will become, this was the first one. Second option, systematic data collection was easy, they told, but we say it as that it is difficult to systematically collect the data. It is difficult. Okay. Then third one is analytical methods are not well described. Analytical methods or observation over here are not well described. Yes. And then the final one, that the data is very detailed. Final one, data is very deep and detailed. Okay. So we got the answer for our question. Chalo. Next question. The qualitative data analysis method which uses the theoretical framework as a basis for analysis is what? A, content analysis, B, grounded theory, C is the schema analysis, or D, hermeneutics. The answer for this question is A, content analysis. Please remember this point. Whenever you get a term theoretical framework, it should be theoretical framework, both TF, theoretical framework. Then you straight away take the answer as content analysis. Content analysis. See over here, in the content analysis methodology, the theoretical framework has been mentioned. Theoretical framework has been mentioned. Let us see the next question. Which of the following are the characteristics of qualitative research methods? Options are A, objective, measurable, reliable, and repeatable. Or B, subjective, measurable, credible, and repeatable. Or C, subjective, credible, inductive, and interpretation of responses. Or D, objective, credible, inductive, and interpretation of responses with assignment. Once again, option number A, what did they say in option number A? It is objective, measurable, reliable, repeatable. In B, subjective, measurable, credible, repeatable. And in C, they are telling subjective, credible, inductive, and interpretation of responses. Finally, the option is objective, credible, inductive, interpretation of responses, and assignment. So, the answer for this question is that which of the following are the characteristics of qualitative research methods as option number C, that it is subjective, credible, inductive, and interpretation of responses. This question, if it comes in the examination, directly put this answer. Next question. The research method which is best suited for collection of information regarding highly sensitive matters such as alcohol use is what? Options are A, focus group discussions, B, participant observation, C is in-depth interviews, and D is group discussions. So the research method which is best suited for collection of information regarding highly sensitive matters such as alcohol use. The answer for this question is C, in-depth interview. C, in-depth interview. See the information given in this slide in the in-depth interviews. Okay, here is the word, or here is the sentence which is mentioned, highly sensitive subject matter. So therefore we got the answer for our question, highly subjective, highly sensitive matter. Okay, chalo. Then next question, which of the following is not the utility of qualitative research? The options are A, to provide the insight to why people behave in a certain way, or B, to estimate the prevalence of a disease, or C, to help understand the results of a quantitative study, or D, for developing a questionnaire. So which of the following is not the utility of a qualitative research? The answer for this question is D, for developing a questionnaire. Please remember this point. So if you get this question in the examination, you take for developing a questionnaire as the answer. Next question. Which of the following statements is true regarding participant observation? The options are A, observer becomes a part of the event of the group, B, systematic collection of the data is easy, C is analytical methods for observation are well described, or D, data is brief as compared to the in-depth interviews. This is actually a repeated question but with different options in the option part. So the answer for this question is that the observer becomes a part of the event or a group. Which of the following is true? Because they have spoken, which of the following is true? Okay, we have seen this question previously. Next question. Open-ended group interviews that promotes discussions among participants is called as what? Once again, this is also a repeated question. The open-ended group interviews that promotes discussion among the participants is called as what? Options are A, in-depth interviews, B, focused group discussions, C is participant observation, or D is the structured interviews. So the answer for this question is B, focused group discussions. See, there itself open-ended group interviews. Okay, if this question is given in the examination, to take the answer as focus group discussions. Next question. A researcher decided to conduct a study to explore the child feeding practices among mothers of under 5 children in a community. So which of the following qualitative techniques can the researcher employ to gather wide range of information on the topic in a short span of time? So in a short span of time, the options are A, structured interview, B is in-depth interview, C, participant observation, or D, focused group in discussions. Once again, let us see. A researcher decided to conduct a study to explore the child feeding practices among mothers. So many mothers are involved, okay, of under 5 children in a community. So which of the following qualitative techniques can the researcher employ to gather wide range of information? If you want a wide range of information, you should have many people or a group of people. Therefore, the answer for this question is Focus group discussion. Answer for this question is focus group discussion. Next question. In qualitative research, the researchers interpret the social reality from the participant's point of view. Is it a true statement or a false statement? Once again, in qualitative research, researchers they interpret the social reality from the participant's point of view. Yes, this is definitely a true statement. Next question. Which of the following statements is incorrect about in-depth interviews? The options are A. The findings are always generalizable. B. The transcripts are time consuming to analyze. Or C. Helps understand the sensitive issues. Or D. Useful when the participants are knowledgeable on a particular topic. So, which of the following statements is incorrect about in-depth interviews? The answer for this question is A. That the findings are always generalizable is an incorrect statement about in-depth interviews. See the information given in this slide, the advantages and disadvantages of the in-depth interviews. All the people appearing for BCBR examination, you have to have a good idea regarding the advantages and disadvantages of the in-depth interviews. In the disadvantages part, see the second point, that it is not generalizable. So this was the answer from our question, because they told that the findings are always generalizable, which is an incorrect statement. So we have found the answer over here. So please, all of you, you should be perfect with the advantages and disadvantages of in-depth interviews. Next question. Which of the following statements is false about focus group discussions? Options are A. Focus group discussions help understand local terminologies. B. Group interaction is integral for an effective discussion. Or C. Heterogeneity of the group is a prerequisite. Or D. Audio and video recordings are done with prior consent. So which of the following among these which is false? So 3 are correct, 1 is wrong. Let us see the options again. Focus group discussions help understand local terminologies. Yes, this is a true statement. Group interaction is integral for an effective discussion. Yes, even this is a true statement. Heterogeneity of the group is a prerequisite. Now, this is a wrong statement. False. Now, the fourth option, audio and video recordings are done with prior consent. Yes, even this is a true statement. Next question. Triangulation is the use of multiple methods, multiple theories, or multiple sources for a comprehensive understanding of a topic in a question. Multiple methods, multiple theories, or multiple sources. Yes, this is a true statement. This is a true statement. Next question. Which of the following characteristics is not related to the qualitative research data? The options are A. Subjective validity. B. Data is in the text form. Or C. Hypothesis testing is a goal. Or D. It involves the interpretation of responses. So, which of the following is not related to qualitative research data? The answer for this question is option number C, that is hypothesis testing is a goal is not a characteristic relating to the qualitative research data. Now see this slide which shows the differences between quantitative and qualitative research methods. In it, it is clearly mentioned that, see the third point regarding the logic of inquiry. It is clearly mentioned that quantitative is a deductive process where it is testing formal hypothesis is done. So this has been asked as a question over here because this hypothesis testing is a goal in quantitative, not qualitative, in quantitative research. In quantitative research, as seen from this chart over here. Now let us see the other options in our question. Subjective validity, data is in text form, and that it involves the interpretation of responses all belong to the qualitative things. See, interpretation of responses, then you have subjective validity. Subjective validity is in qualitative research method. Interpretation of response is in qualitative research method. And then the data is in a text form. It is also a part of the qualitative research method. I request all the students to become well versed with this differences between quantitative and qualitative research methods, and you have seen how the questions have been framed. Now this is one type of a question. Please remember this question, this answer, and also this chart. Chalo. Next question. Which of the following cannot be done using the qualitative research? Cannot be done. Options are A. Viewing a social phenomenon holistically, B. Estimating the burden of a disease, or C. Seeking in-depth understanding of a phenomenon, or D. Unfamiliar subject matter. Unfamiliar subject matter. So which of the following cannot be done with the qualitative research? So the answer for our question is option number B, that is estimating the burden of the disease. Estimating the burden of the disease cannot be done using the qualitative research. See, as I told you, you have to remember this chart. Let us see the options. Viewing a social phenomenon holistically was our first option. Viewing a social phenomenon holistically. It is written over here. Okay. Now, second option, estimating the burden of a disease is not mentioned because we know. Third thing, seeking in-depth understanding of a phenomenon. Seeking in-depth understanding of a phenomenon is mentioned over here. Okay. Then the last option, unfamiliar subject matter. Unfamiliar subject matter is mentioned over here. Okay. So therefore, as I told you, when are you supposed to use the qualitative research methods? I told you all the 7 scenarios. 1, 2, this one is 3, then this is 4, 5, 6, 7. All these 7 situations have to be kept in the mind. Next question. A researcher wants to estimate the prevalence of exclusive breastfeeding in a remote tribal population. So she also wants to understand the myths and the taboos associated with breastfeeding. So which of the following approaches can be employed in this situation? The options are A. Qualitative study, B. Clinical trial, C. Mixed method study, or D. Cross-sectional study. So in this situation, what you will do is you will use a mixed method study. You will use a mixed method study. Next question. Which of the following is not a data collection method used in qualitative research? Not a data collection method in qualitative research. Chalo, options are A. Interviews, B. Sociogram, C is participant observation, and 4 is focus group discussion. So which is not a data collection method? This is a repeated question. The answer for this question is B. Sociogram. Sociogram is not a method. Interviews is a method. Participant observation is a method. Focused group discussion is also a method. Now see this picture very carefully. This is showing that what are the methods used in qualitative research. In it, they have spoken regarding the main data collection methods. They have mentioned only three variables. One is that in-depth interviews or the individual interviews, focus group discussions, and participant observation. The whole theory will revolve in these three aspects. Now they have not mentioned regarding the sociogram. So therefore, the sociogram is not a data collection method used in qualitative research. Only the interviews or the in-depth interviews, also called as the individual interviews, focus group discussions, and participant observations are mentioned. So please once again remember this chart, this question, and the answer for this question also. Next question. Which of the following is not a feature of in-depth interviews? You have to be perfect with in-depth interviews. Multiple times they are asking the questions. Options are A. It involves 2 or more participants at a time. B. It follows an interview guide. C. It is suitable for a highly sensitive topic. Or D. It obtains right contextualized information. So which is not a feature of in-depth interview? The answer for this question is option number A, that it involves 2 or more participants at one time. So this is not a feature of in-depth interview. Please remember the answer. Next question. Which of the following is an advantage of conducting an in-depth interview? Once again, question on in-depth interview. Options are A, it expresses the emic perspective. B, it is generalizable. C, it is a quick process, or D, it uses a systematic sampling approach. So which of the following is an advantage? The answer is that option number A, that it expresses the emic perspective is an advantage of conducting the in-depth interviews. I told you previously that you have to be perfect with the advantages and disadvantages of in-depth interviews. So please go back to the discussion over there, see the information chart, and then you can answer this question easily. Now see this slide, which is showing the advantages and disadvantages of in-depth interviews or individual interviews. In the advantages, you see the last point, which is telling regarding the emic perspectives, also called as the inside perspectives. So this is an advantage of in-depth interviews. As in our question, it was asked which of the following is an advantage of conducting an in-depth interview. So we have taken that it expresses the emic perspective as per the advantages part from this chart. So I request all the students to become perfect once again with the advantages and disadvantages of in-depth interviews. This has been asked many types and many times. Next question. State whether true or false. In a focus group discussion, it is easy to obtain personal behaviors on a sensitive issue. Is it a true statement or a false statement? The answer is that it is a false statement. It is a false statement. So if this question comes in the examination, you take false statement as the answer. Now see this chart on the focus group discussions, advantages and disadvantages. In the first disadvantage itself, they have clearly mentioned that it is difficult to assess the practice of very personal or sensitive behaviors in the groups. This is the first disadvantage. From our question, they have asked in the focus group discussion, is it easy to obtain the personal behaviors on a sensitive issue? And we have taken it as false because it is a disadvantage of the focus group discussions. In this context, I also request the students to get well versed with other disadvantages, like that focus group discussions are not generalizable, because even this was asked previously as a question. Then this was also asked as a question. This was also asked as a question. So you please become perfect with the advantages of focus group discussions and also the disadvantages of focus group discussions, because any permutations and combinations they can mix and any type of question can be asked from this single chart. So please remember this question, this answer and also this chart. The next question. Which of the following is true regarding the participant observation method? Options are A, that it is easy to analyze the data, or B, the researcher himself becomes a part of the study group, or C, data obtained is very concise, or D, the researcher interviews each participant in detail. It is a very simple question and a repeated question. True regarding participant observation is nothing but that the researcher himself or herself will join or be a part of the study group. Option number B is the answer. Chalo then, next question. State whether true or false. Data obtained from the FGD, that is focus group discussions, may be sensitive to biased analysis. Is this a true statement or a false statement? So it is a true statement. Please remember the answer. It is a true statement. Data obtained from focus group discussions may be sensitive to biased analysis is a true statement. The next question. The analytical approach where the researcher proceeds to develop a theory based on learnings obtained from the data is called as what? Options are A, grounded theory analysis, B, content analysis, C, schema analysis, or D, is factor analysis. Once again, the analytical approach where the researcher proceeds to develop a theory based on the learnings obtained from the data is called as a grounded theory analysis. Please remember this point, grounded theory analysis. We have seen this in the previous question, so please go back to the discussions what we have done in the initial numbers of this chapter. Then you will find charts regarding or the slides regarding the grounded theory analysis. Next question. In-depth interviews are not used in one of the following situations. In one of the following options are A, geographically displaced participants, or B, subject matter is simple, or C, the peer pressure is an issue, or D, subject matter is sensitive. So from this question itself we can understand that the answer will be either from B or D, because either the subject matter is simple or otherwise the subject matter is sensitive. Sometimes you can trace out the answer in this way. Chalo. Then what is the answer for this question? In-depth interviews are not used when the subject matter is simple. When the subject matter is simple is the answer for this question. See the information given in this chart. We have already seen this question previously in the in-depth interviews. When you will use, when you have a highly sensitive subject matter and complex subject matter and highly sensitive subject matter. So therefore we got the answer for our question. Now the next question. All are the contents in grounded theory approach except what? The options are A. Coding text into categories, or B. Building the theoretical models, or C. Quotes from interviews, or D. Statistical analysis of matrix. So, what are all the contents in the grounded theory? Out of these four, three are the contents except one. So, the answer for this question is option number D, that is statistical analysis of the matrix. Statistical analysis of the matrix, because statistical analysis of the matrix comes under content analysis. Content analysis, not grounded theory. Okay. So you please go back to the previous questions where we have discussed regarding grounded theory and content analysis. There is a tabular column or a chart or a slide in which both the things are differentiated. Please go back and you can have a look at it. Next question. When a peer pressure is an issue, then what method is used? Options are A. In-depth interviews, B. Focused group discussions, C. Participant observation, or D. None of the above. So when peer pressure is an issue, what is used? The answer is that in-depth interviews are used. In-depth interviews are used. Please remember the answer. Now the next question. Qualitative research methods actually help into review the social phenomenon more holistically. Is it a true statement or a false statement? It is definitely a true statement. The next question. State whether true or false. Again, the in-depth interviews are based on a large number of people and sampling is systematic. Is it a true statement or a false statement? The answer for this question is that it is a false statement. It is a false statement. Now see the information given in this chart. As per our question, the question was in-depth interviews are based on a large number of people and the sampling is systematic. They told and they were asking. So we told that this statement is a false statement. See the information given on in-depth interviews. See in the disadvantages part, it is based on a few people and usually not systematic sample. Not systematic sample. Okay. So we got the answer over here. In the first disadvantages of the in-depth interviews. So each and everyone who is appearing for the basic course in the biomedical research examination should have a good knowledge or subject regarding the advantages and disadvantages of in-depth interviews. Next question. What is false regarding the focus group discussions? What is false? Chalo. Options are A. Flexible interview guide, or B. Usually 30 to 40 participants are involved, or C. Moderator and a note taker is required, or D. Used when the cost and timings are issues. Used when cost and timings are issues. Let us see the options again. Which of the following is false regarding focus group discussions? Flexible interview guide, yes, definitely it is a true statement. Usually 30 to 40 participants are involved. Many participants are involved, but not 30 to 40. Not 30 to 40. It is less number. So this should be this is the answer for this question. Third is moderator and note taker is required. Yes, this is true. And this F focus group discussions, that is FGDs, are used when cost and timings are issues. Yes, even this is true. So usually 30 to 40 participants are involved in this methodology is wrong statement, because only, as far as I remember, only 6 to 8 participants are present. Only 6 to 8 participants are present. Okay. So we got the answer for our question. Next question. The following is a feature of a qualitative research method. Options are A. Deductive inquiring, B. Reliability, C. Repeatability, or D. Subjective validity. The following is a feature of qualitative research method. Deductive inquiring, reliability, repeatability, and subject quality. So what is the answer for this question? The answer for this question is D. Subjective validity. D. Subjective validity. Now see the information given in this chart. As per our question, the following is a feature of qualitative research method. In the qualitative research method over here, it is been mentioned that the validity will be subjective. Validity will be subjective. Okay. Sometimes they may ask or they may mention the option as credibility also. So you have to be perfect with the differences between quantitative and qualitative research method regarding data, view of the world, logic of inquiry, research design, validity, and cross-cultural generations. Okay, it is very difficult to by heart, but we have no other choice. It is only for the examination purpose. Okay, you have to remember the difference between quantitative or qualitative, and please remember this question. The following is a feature of qualitative research method. We found out subjective validity over here. Okay, hello. Question. The following is a feature of in-depth interview. What are the features? Options are A, closed interview, or B, open-ended interview, or C, both A and B, or D, neither A nor B. So what is the feature of in-depth interview? The answer is option number B. Open-ended interviews are a feature of in-depth interviews, not closed-ended. Please remember this point. The next question. Focus group discussions are open-ended interviews that promote the discussion between the participants on a specific topic. Is it a true statement or a false statement? So the answer is that it is definitely a true statement. It is definitely a true statement. Please concentrate on the information given in the slide. This is regarding the focus group discussions. In the first point itself, they have mentioned that open-ended group interviews that promote discussions between participants on a specific topics. This is called as focused group discussions. Okay. So the first point itself has been asked in the form of true or false, and we have taken the answer as true. So you please by heart all the points present in this focus group discussions. They may ask you otherwise this point that the focus group discussion usually involves 6 to 8 similar participants. The word similar also called as homogeneous sometimes. They mention the word as homogeneous, similar. Okay. So this has been asked previously as a question. They may also ask that it is moderator based and a note taker is involved. They may also ask regarding the flexible interview guide. So any of the patterns can be made from this chart. Also, what are the situations where you use focus group discussions? There are few situations mentioned over here. Okay. Now, what will the examiner can do is they can modify these situations and they can ask a question as to where it can be used or where it cannot be used. Focus group discussions. So I request all the students to be well versed with the information given in this chart pertaining to the introduction of this focus group discussion. So next question. All are the advantages of focus group discussions except options are A, it collects the information on social norms, B, people can talk more openly, C, transcribing requires less time, or D, people talk about personal issues. So what are the advantages of this focus group discussions? Let us see the options again. It collects the information on social norms. Yes, this is a true statement. People can talk more openly. Yes, this is also a true statement. Transcribing requires less time is wrong because transcription will require a large time. So this is the answer for this question. And the last option, that is people talk about personal issues. Yes, even this is correct. Okay. So this is the except part. We got the answer for this question. Chalo. Then next question. Choose the correct option. The point of view captured in the qualitative research is dash. Participants or investigators, or otherwise investigators' reflections on participants' point of view, or participants' reflection on the investigators' point of view. What is the correct option? The correct option is option number A, that is participant. So let us read the sentence again. Choose the correct option. The point of view captured in the qualitative research is of the participants. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is an action verb commonly used while framing a qualitative objective? Options are A, to estimate, B, to determine, C is to explore, or D is to predict. The answer for this question is option number C, that is to explore. To explore is an action verb commonly used while framing a qualitative objective. Okay. Please see this chart. In this chart, it is clearly we can see when to use qualitative research methods, and they have mentioned a point over here that it need to explore and explain the behaviors. Now, this is the verb or the action word which has been mentioned over here. It is a verb. Verb is nothing but simple grammar. It is an action word. It is an action word. Okay. So for this reason we have taken this as the answer. Now if you can remember points pertaining to the words estimate and also determine, we have spoken regarding these two terms in the second chapter. See this slide over here. These were regarding the objectives for descriptive versus analytical studies. In the descriptive studies, we use the verb estimate, whereas in analytical studies, the verb will be determine. So in that second chapter, please go back and you can have once again a review of this discussion over there. I will repeat it over here, that the word estimate is used as a verb for descriptive analytic studies, whereas the word determine is used for analytical studies. Previously, they have also asked that the descriptive analytical studies are used for estimating a quantity. They have also asked analytical studies have been used as a testing a hypothesis. So this was a question, this was a question, and this estimate was a question, this was also a question. They have also asked to estimate a prevalence, what is used. Then we have taken the answer as descriptive studies. So this is other part of the story. Like this discussion we have done in chapter number 2. But as far as our question is concerned, so because this estimate is done for descriptive studies, determine is used for analytical studies. And from the start we have come to know that explore is used for qualitative studies, for the qualitative research methods. So we got the answer for our question. Next question. Which of the following qualitative techniques requires homogeneous participants? Homogeneous participants. Options are A. Focus group discussions, B. In-depth interviews, C is participant observation, or D. Key informant interview. So wherever you have words of homogeneous participants, you take the answer as focus group discussion. As focus group discussion. Please remember the answer for this question. Next question. A researcher decided to conduct a study on domestic abuse among the homemakers in a village during the COVID-19 pandemic. So which of the following is an appropriate method to use data for the data collection? Options are A. Participant observation, or B. In-depth interviews, or C. Focus group discussions, or D. Key informant interview. Because it is a question of domestic abuse, it should be one-to-one, so therefore it is an in-depth interview. Please remember the answer for this question. Now let us see the next question. Which of the following is not a disadvantage of participant observation? They have asked not a disadvantage. So let us see the options. A. Difficult to systematically collect. B. Difficult to take notes. C. Details may be forgotten. Or D. The data is deep and detailed. So they are asking what is not a disadvantage. Disadvantage of participant observation. Let us see the options again. The participant observation is difficult to systematically collect. Yes, it is a disadvantage. It is difficult to take notes. Yes, even this is correct. The details may be forgotten in participant observation. Yes, even this is correct. The data is deep and detailed. No, because this is actually an advantage. This is actually an advantage of participant observation. So therefore, we got our answer for this question. Now, see this chart over here. This is a presentation on participant observation. In it, they have clearly mentioned what is it, what is a participant observation, what are the advantages of participant observation, what are the disadvantages of participant observation. In the advantages, they have mentioned that the data is very deep and detailed. So this itself is our answer for our question. Let us see the other options. In the disadvantages, they have mentioned it is difficult to systematically collect and it is hard to take notes and details may be forgotten. Also, they have mentioned that the analytical methods for observation nodes are not well described. So therefore, we got all the disadvantages, we got one advantage, and this has been framed in the form of a question and put over here. So please remember this question and also the answer for this question, and most importantly, this chart on participant observation. Let us see the next question. A researcher planned a study to know the reason for non-compliance to follow up in a drug addiction rehabilitation centers among adolescents intravenous drug users. Okay, so what is the appropriate method to use for data collection? Options are A, key informant interview, B, participant observation, C is in-depth interview, or D is focused group discussion. See, you are following up in a drug addiction rehabilitation center. You are looking for non-compliance. So it should be one-to-one. So therefore, this is again an in-depth interview. Please remember the answer for this question. Previously also it was during COVID-19 pandemic, the question was regarding the domestic abuse. So even it was one-to-one. So therefore, this is an in-depth interview. Chalo then, next question. What is the logic of inquiry in a qualitative research? Options are A, deductive, B, objective, C is inductive, or D is statistical. Logic of inquiry in a qualitative research is always inductive. Please remember this point. Now see this chart which is showing the differences between quantitative versus qualitative research methods. In this differences, see the third point which is speaking regarding the logic of inquiry. Now in the qualitative part, the logic of inquiry is inductive. Please remember this point because this has been framed as a question and asked over here. What is the logic of inquiry? In qualitative research, we have taken the answer as inductive. But if suppose they would have asked, what is the logic of inquiry in quantitative? If they would have mentioned quantitative, if quantitative, then the answer would have been deductive. See over here. For quantitative, it is deductive, whereas for qualitative, it is inductive. So, I request all the students to be well versed with the differences of this quantitative versus qualitative research methods, because anything can be framed from this table and asked as a question as mentioned over here. Next question. Which of the following is a method of analyzing the qualitative data? Options are A, regression analysis, B, content analysis, C, univariate analysis, or D is multivariable analysis. So we have seen this previously. For analyzing the qualitative data, the answer is content analysis. Okay. The other was grounded theory analysis. Okay. Chalo then. Next question. Which of the following is not a prerequisite for conducting the focus group discussions? Options are A, homogeneous participants, B is group interaction, C, personal topics, or D is flexible interview guide. So which is not a prerequisite? Among the options, personal topics is not a prerequisite for conducting the focus group discussions. Homogeneous participants, yes. Group interaction is yes, and flexible interview guide is also yes. See this slide carefully. This is speaking regarding the advantages and disadvantages of focus group discussions. We have seen this previously also, but because this has been asked in our question, let us revise this small topic again. The question was that which is not a prerequisite for conducting the focus group discussions. Now we have taken the answer as personal topics is not a prerequisite, because the disadvantage is in the disadvantage you see the first point itself. It is difficult to access the practice of very personal or sensitive behaviors in the group. So these personal topics is not a prerequisite for conducting focus group discussion, as we have come to know from this disadvantage. The other disadvantage is that it is not generalizable. It was asked as a previously as a question. Then the third one, transcribing time consuming is often 30 to 40 pages each, was also asked previously as a question. And this focus group discussions, another disadvantage is that it has got some analytical challenge. So all these things have been asked previously as a question. As far as our question is concerned, I repeat again that this personal topics is not a prerequisite for conducting a focus group discussion. There you can see in the first option, they have mentioned as homogeneous participants. Homogeneous participants in the sense similar participants. If you go through the literature of this focus group discussions, there they have used the word as similar participants. So therefore, similar participants are also called as homogeneous participants. Now let us see a small discussion on the advantages of focus group discussions. They have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. So advantage is that Some people who more comfortable and more openly, they can speak or they can talk in group settings. Okay, because and they can collect more information on social norms. They can provide lots of data in limited amount of time. So this is the advantage of focus group discussion. These advantages can be framed as one question, disadvantages can be framed as one question, or uh, they may do permutations and combinations from this chart, and they can ask anyway. So I request all the students to please become well versed with the advantages and disadvantages of focus group discussions. Please remember this question and also the answer for this question and this chart. The last question of this chapter: a researcher wanted to conduct a prospective study on dietary practices of toddlers admitted to the nutritional rehabilitation center. So which of the following is an appropriate method for data collection? See, you are conducting a prospective cohort study on a dietary practices of toddlers. So many mothers will be involved. So therefore it is a focused group discussion. The answer will be focused group discussion. Okay. Now with this we complete this chapter in basic course in biomedical research.